Welcome to another fascinating episode of Titans and Trailblazers. Titans and Trailblazers is your go-to program for learning about contemporary tools for thriving in business, contemporary tools for gaining better social relevance, and contemporary tools for building a better Africa by and large. Today we are going to have a particularly fascinating guest, but I'll tell you more about this guest when we come back from the break. Stay tuned.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
MNC Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302-551-917 or 0302-551-918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Welcome back to Titans and Trailblazers. And today for our book review, I have a book which is dear to my heart because of the very important nature of the subject the book covers. Tourism. We edited a book entitled New Frontiers in Hospitality and Tourism Management in Africa with some of the best tourism scholars who write on Africa. Professor Michael Nguasong, and then Professor Albert Kimbu, both of them based in the UK, and my friend Professor Gechi Adiola, who now works at the University of Kigali in Rwanda, and I was the last editor. Why did we think we needed a book that looked at management issues in hospitality and tourism? Well, because tourism is one of the biggest game changers for Africa. Has always been, now is, and forever will be. We have in Ghana, for instance, a new government that's in reset mode. One of the biggest pillars of their manifesto is the introduction of something called the Black Star Experience. Now, the Black Star Experience is conceptualized to be some sort of concept that showcases what is best about Ghana and puts together a comprehensive set of year-long activities to get people to enjoy Ghana from a hospitality and tourism perspective and to generate buzz about the brand Ghana. So the spirit of the Black Star Experience is that internally we should consume hospitality and tourism products, and then externally we should have such a comprehensive portfolio of hospitality and tourism products that people will come from across the world and come and benefit from the brilliant experience that Ghana has in terms of hospitality and tourism. So why this book? We set out to answer 5 key questions. We're trying to interrogate what the management practices are when it comes to hospitality and tourism firms in Africa, and how effectively are these practices being implemented. Number two, we try to understand what examples exist when it comes to H&T firms engaging in management innovation. That is, where is the innovation and the novelty in the practice of management in relation to hospitality and tourism firms in Africa? Number three, we try to understand what drives the uptake of Western versus African management practices when it comes to H&T in Africa. And we're trying to understand again how these management practices differ between formal and informal companies and across the different hospitality and tourism industry that can be found in Africa. Number four, we're trying to understand how the use of management practices by H&T firms contribute to the competitiveness of African countries as tourism destinations. Because look, we need to be clear in our minds. As we try to configure value propositions around H&T in Africa, the Maldives is doing the same. Brazil is doing this. I was watching an episode of a CNN show yesterday where they were saying that this coming summer, Vancouver and Montreal are very hot tourism destinations for American tourists who want to go abroad. So now they will not do long-haul travel to Africa. They will just hop over to Canada. They'll go to Vancouver. They'll go to Montreal. They were saying that airlines were charging as low as $600 to go from maybe an Accra to New York or around those sorts of places. So the competitiveness of African H&T destinations matter. Number five, we're trying to look at what policies and strategies can enable the development of H&T organizations in Africa. That was also very, very important for us. So what's in the book? The book has 16 chapters. And we don't only draw from across the several different sub-regions of Africa, but we include country-specific examples of novel H&T practices. And then we also have cross-country comparative studies that provide a critical re-examination of the applicability of Western management theories to the African context. So if you take the first chapter, for instance, Nguasong writes together with a couple of others, and they provide an in-depth snapshot of contemporary management practices within the H&T landscape in Africa. When you go on to Chapter 2, you have a discussion by Ajealemi and Olarewaju, and they focus on issues attendant to Nigeria. And they are trying to understand how we can configure solutions for attractive prospective tourists with a view to increasing the patronage, the loyalty of H&T value offerings in Nigeria. Then Adeniyi and Folarin also have discussions around what African governments can do to create conducive environments for the thriving of H&T business entities. And then they also give us some sort of snapshot of what the government can do in terms of committing to H&T reform within the Nigerian sector. In Chapter 4, Zoo analyzed the prospects of Southern Africa in respect of MICE. MICE stands for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. And by the way, last week I was at the program with the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, and we're launching the upcoming Africa Marketing Confederation TICON conference happening in August 2025. And he said, well, one of the things they're trying to do at the Ghana Tourism Authority is that they're trying to make Ghana a favorable MICE destination so that people will come here to organize different types of events. And I'm sure that in the spirit of that, we would be working on building a certain infrastructural net to support the development of MICE from Africa. I remember again when I was in Rwanda as Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Kigali, we had a lot of things like the convention center, big, where Radisson Blu was right behind my building. And anytime I walked around there, I sort of understood why Rwanda was a big destination for meetings, conferences, and exhibitions. So from the MICE discussions in chapter 4, we now go on to other issues that have to do with supply chain matters, because supply chain matters for the development of the tourism sector as well. So some of the scholars in the book look at issues attendant to the supply chains in sub-Saharan Africa, how IT can be integrated into the processes of purchasing, selling, transferring, and exchanging goods, the potential of the internet for improving supply chain practices, and so on and so forth. Other contributors look at issues attendant to destination branding, and this one is very close to my heart because you see, if you take the 52, 53, 54 countries in Africa, I'm not sure even 15 have clearly delineated nation branding agencies. We have some people who are doing some investment stuff, some are doing some tourism stuff, some are doing SME promotion, but something like Brand South Africa, which has a clear mandate to promote the. I remember I did a Good Evening Ghana with Paula Dumotri about 23 years ago with the late Komla Dumo and a lady called Brenda Somerville. And at that time, we were discussing how to brand Ghana. And I said way back then that Thabo Mbeki was very visionary in setting up that Brand South Africa Council because he brought in people from finance, from investment, from trade. And I remember Unilever at the time was a major financier of that Brand South Africa thing. So please, this destination branding thing is a life and death matter for me. If you are listening across this continent, try to imagine a country that has a clear nation branding agenda, has a clear nation branding agency, because in articulating a proper nation brand, then tourism can kick in, investment can kick in, finance can kick in. Listen, if a country is not clearly defined, I promise you, no matter how well you are doing, there's more you can do, because destination brand management is a big thing. And nation branding is critical to the development and the growth of tourism in Africa, and that's a non-negotiable matter. Then we come to the issue of the sharing economy. It's a big thing now. Airbnb, Uber, sharing is big. Now, the sharing economy, according to those who worked on chapter 9 of the book, has to do with platforms that provide opportunities and challenges at the same time. Now, in terms of economic opportunities, nowadays, anybody can use any spare room they have, any spare accommodation, and come up with an Airbnb product. Nowadays, companies like Uber are big in Africa. In fact, in Ghana now, they have clearly branded vehicles, and they're trying to elevate this whole ride-hailing ecosystem. So, issues attendant to the sharing economy are also well covered in the book. Then we have those who also come and look at issues attendant to the failure of African destinations in integrating sports tourism into the overall developmental destination management and marketing posture of African countries. So the authors of this chapter use Cameroon as a case study, and they said that sports can be used to develop tourism in different localities and regions of Cameroon if it's operated under a certain strategic blueprint. Because the authors argue that while there seems to be an abundance of opportunities for leveraging sports in order to boost domestic tourism, there are bottlenecks inhibiting the opportunity that sports present. Some of the obstacles they identified include lack of relevant investment in infrastructure, lack of an enabling environment, lack of aligned and coordinated effort between tourism and sports officials, resulting in the lack of a comprehensive and integrated development strategy to develop and manage the country's domestic tourism, and thereby increasing its contributions to local, social, and economic development in the country. Interestingly, in this same studio I'm in right now, a week or two ago, there was somebody who sat not at this particular location, but very close to where I'm sitting right now. And they were discussing this Black Star Experience matter. This person works in the office of the president and said that, look, the reason why there's a desk in the office of the president is that the Black Star Experience desk is supposed to do what these authors were talking about here. Reconcile all the disparate functions into one coordinated whole. So whether it's ports, whether it's transport, whether it's festivals, whether it's special events, they are supposed to sort of work in that Black Star framework to put everything together to give us an integrated tourism outlook. Listen, health can be part of tourism. Football can be tourism. Basketball can be tourism. And so what Africa needs are better integrated models for taking this hospitality and tourism discussion forward. By the way, I'll be introducing an op-ed next week where I dwell on the issue of customer experience as a boost to tourism efficacy in Africa, because I found by experience that sometimes we focus on only the hard side discussions regarding tourism development. And we forget that for any good brand, the emotional selling proposition is a better and a more cogent discussion than even the functional selling proposition. So you find that we are big on tables and chairs and stadia, but the critical customer experience thing still leaves a little to be desired in Africa. So just as a way of closing, we need to also have better ideas around how we can use the experience to boost brand Africa and then boost the various African country brand destinies. Thank you for listening. Look, after I come back to you, we're going to have a very explosive interview with somebody I cherish, somebody who understands his market issues very, very well. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more of Titans and Trailblazers.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGL Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. With MNC Properties, property sales, rentals, and management is a walk in the park. We believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 to 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We offer flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs, plus litigation-free lands in vibrant and upscale communities that presents the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 0302 551 917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Welcome back to Titans and Trailblazers. And today I have a very, very good friend of mine, a man I deeply admire and respect. But before I introduce him, I need to make an important announcement. So I'm getting these calls from friends, family, and they are saying things like, oh, Bob, I hear you are back at UGBS. I hear you've left GCTU. Please, since everybody will hear this, I was Pro-Vice Chancellor at the Ghana Communication Technology University for 3 years. So at the end of April 2025, my term ended. And when my term ended, I opted to go back to the University of Ghana Business School, where I was on a leave of absence. So it's not like I hear you've left GCTU. I hear you. No. I didn't leave. My term ended to the glory of God. And just so that there's a public announcement, I'm eternally grateful to the council of the university. I'm grateful to the vice chancellor for his excellent leadership. But my term is over. So I've gone back to the University of Ghana Business School. And on Monday at 11:30, I'll be teaching integrated marketing communications to an MBA class. So you can imagine I'm just buzzing. I can't wait to enter the class again, because when you've been out for 4 years, you miss it. So I'm going back, and I'm praying that when I get back, Ecclesiastes 10:10 will be my portion, because the Bible says that when the axe is blunt, cut it, but when you are sharp. So I'm taking some sharpness on Monday and praying that that's why I'm even going to speak to my guest today, because he's also a sharp person. So you add some sharpness to me, and then we can go. And Edwin, you are welcome.
Thank you very much,
good
Prof.
to have you, sir.
Good to be here.
Today, our guest is Edwin Amoako. He's a former marketing practitioner, marketing man of the year. He's a famed marketing practitioner. So we'll get straight into it, Edwin. Please tell us about yourself, where you were born, where you went to school, and why you love building brands.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yes,
once again, thanks for all the accolades. We give all the glory to God once again. Prof, fun fact, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Oh, wow.
At some part in my life.
Oh, wow.
I actually went to Infantswim School.
Indeed.
After St. Martin de Porres. I know Infantswim is a very passionate topic between yourself and I.
Yeah. So but my father was in Saba Pico.
Oh, great.
He's
great.
1962 year group.
Wow.
So when he died, we put the Infantswim cloth around his coffin, and then we sent him home.
Yes.
So Infantswim is an excellent school.
Exactly.
Okay.
So after Infantswim, where I studied science, I actually, in between Infantswim and tertiary, I started working.
Okay.
So my first cut at commercial job was to work with a company called Parry & Co. We're the sole brokers of Starkey's
the tuna people.
Exactly.
I know them, Mr. Chubesi.
Mr. Chubesi,
I know
yes,
him.
Yes, great man.
He came to our school to do a PhD in entrepreneurship. I think he may be finishing or has finished.
Great man.
Great
Great
guy.
man.
Yes.
So I had the first opportunity to work there right out of school. I think that's in 2001. Started working with Starkey's brand, and then I had a eureka moment, understanding that I actually didn't want to do medicine, but I had a passion for people.
Yes.
Bringing solutions and impact.
Correct.
So after doing, I think, about 6 or 8 years with Parry & Co., where I started as a warehouse officer and rose through the ranks, I became the media and events manager before I left. Then I transitioned into Nestle Central and West Africa, where I was a brand manager for the dairy category. The dairy category is about the third biggest category for the
Is Nido in the dairy?
Yes, Nido, Ideal Milk, Golden Morn, Gloria Milk, Carnation, all of those ones are within the dairy category.
So do you know James?
James was a colleague of mine.
Really?
Yes.
He's now commercial director at Diageo.
Exactly.
I saw him yesterday.
We are very good friends.
He used to give me Nido. Yes. When I was eating a lot of carbohydrate, but I've repented. But you go on.
So yes, in Nestle Central and West Africa, I also had the opportunity to work as a brand manager for Ghana, Nigeria. And then I transitioned into a new role that was formed called Innovation and Renovation Manager.
Correct.
The role of an Innovation and Renovation Manager was to be the person between research and development and the brand managers in the various countries, where you would take insights that is gathered, convert it into a product, and launch it in those countries.
Oh, wow.
So it was a very pivotal place for me to understand better how ideas moved to products and manage the projects and let them become marketable or tangible products in the countries that they were launched.
Wow.
So after doing food, by then I'd done food about food and FMCG, as we call it, for about 10 plus years. I was very curious. So I got an opportunity to work for telecoms. So I moved into Surfline, where I was the head of...
Renee?
In Surfline.
Did Renee do Surfline? I think so, but you go on.
Yeah, in Surfline, those were very interesting times for the telecoms industry in Ghana because Surfline and a few other local players had gotten the license to launch the first 4G LTE technology.
Correct.
Outside of the typical MNOs.
Correct.
Who were the MTNs and the Airtel Tigos, etc. So you needed to really come to the table strong.
Absolutely.
Because you were going to try and steal market share from people like MTN, etc.
Absolutely. Who were strong.
Yes. And so it was a very, very interesting time for us, as a marketeer, having the opportunity to start a brand from scratch, brand colors, brand book, and execute it and get people to purchase a product. Gotten to the extent where people were holding my files as part of their mobile phones and putting it on tables. It became something
like
that exactly. It was an very interesting times for us. So I did Surfline Telecoms. Very interesting place because once again, whenever I do the comparison between FMCG and telecoms, I say FMCG, you always have these shackles of what you have to say because when you are doing the marketing communications, you need to go through FDA.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to telecoms, you really have a kind of leeway and free space. So you can be very creative.
Very much.
So it was very, very interesting for us from launching WOW, the WOW campaign, etc. So after doing Surfline for I think about 3-4 years, I moved on from Surfline back again into Nestle Coastal Cluster.
Okay.
This time around, I was responsible for the dairy category for marketing and category for Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Ghana.
Dairy again?
Yes.
You're a dairy man?
Yes, yes. And I'll even add more to that for you because after doing dairy for so long, I've been selling both evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, powdered milk, flavored milk. And guess what? After I did Nestle, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, I got approached by Fun Milk, which sold frozen dairy. So now I don't think anybody has done dairy more than I've done.
You have to put dairy in your house. Here lives the dairy man.
So I had the opportunity to join Fun Milk, a very iconic brand that we've all grown up on. You know, I have very fond memories and I time in Fun Milk. And actually, for any brand manager or marketing person, one of the most difficult things that you have to manage is called the flavor animation.
We introduced that was from Lime One.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
We introduced the Super Yogo that was actually launched in the cracks of COVID to address the micronutrient deficiency that was happening within that period. Then we won a couple of awards, and by God's grace, like you said, I had the opportunity to be the marketing practitioner of the year during that period. So after doing Fun Milk, after moving from being a marketing director and to become commercial director for a period, I then moved into a territory that was totally outside of FMCG. And that was the sanitation and environment space in the Zoom Lion Private Services Limited. So I also got there. I did about a couple of years, almost 3 years with Zoom Lion, and now I have transitioned into consultancy, which I'm doing right now. Still in marketing and building brands and strategy for other companies.
Okay, so given this illustrious track record, the question I have to ask you is, what's one of the proudest marketing campaigns you remember fondly? And but by the way, so marketing campaigns can have different types of impacts. I mean, it could be reach, it could be volume, it could be value. So I'm going to give you the space to define why you consider it memorable and the impact you had.
Thank you very much. And like you said, the campaigns are a lot. One of the proudest moments for me, anytime I walk into any supermarket, is to see that products that I touched are still on the shelves.
Indeed.
And some of the last labels that you did, and you understand why they are there, and it's very interesting. So I think the most let's call it the one that really stretched us, and I had most satisfaction in, had to do with what we call the So Cool So Good campaign when I worked for Danone Fun Milk. The So Cool So Good campaign was all about trying to transition Fun Yogo, that was a product that was intrinsically cold in terms of temperature because it was sold at minus 18 degrees.
Indeed.
But to make it a cool brand where the youth could associate with it, and it was exciting, and also intersperse it with what we call flavor animations.
Indeed.
So now we're introducing new types of Fun Yogo, but we're also making Fun Yogo hip, cool.
Indeed.
And that's where we brought in Kwesi Arthur, we brought in Sister Derby at a certain point in time. We made the Fun Yogo vest. That was just something that the hawkers on the street used to wear, a fashionable icon. People were wearing it and going out because they saw their musicians wearing it. And then we introduced the whole 360-degree communication to it that touched both, it was natively digital, but also extended to even the vendor on the streets. That was when you saw street vendors who had behind them CEO, Chief Enjoyment Officers.
Absolutely.
And it was so engaging. And during that time, we also had to do a price increase. And it was very difficult to do a price increase. We launched, we introduced our price increase on social media, and that particular post had the whole Ghana talking. Because we went